Ladies and gents, welcome back to Vinland Saga Season 2, Episode 20. Oh man. Oh man. These last couple of episodes have been bangers. Well, not just these couple of episodes. In fact, this entire season has been nothing but bangers. But yeah, it does feel like we are, of course, approaching the finale of the farm saga, the farmland saga. If I remember correctly, technically it's supposed to be called the Slave Arc, which I think is a much better name, but a lot of people just refer to it as the Farmland Saga. But either way, welcome back, everybody. I'm actually just gonna pad out just for another minute because I'm currently rendering a video and I just want that video to be finished rendering. It's only gonna take like a minute, but yeah. Last time on Vinland Saga, of course, we had Knut finally venturing into the farm and showed Kettle and everybody else like what a true leader is. Snake also getting some shine as well, right? Also letting us know what a real leader is. And then, of course, we end the episode with, what was his name again? Thorgil just appearing out of the ocean with the element of surprise to kill Canute, even though it's not really a surprise when you announce your name. But of course, there's a few distance between Thorgil and Canute, so maybe Canute isn't really paying attention, and maybe he didn't really hear that Thorgil is coming behind him. But I'm pretty sure that Thorgil won't come out unscathed. Canute will definitely come out unharmed, or at least will be alive. He has historical plot armor, but yeah. There is also a final trailer that was released by Studio Mappa about a couple of, well, like yesterday, I think. I'm not gonna watch it. I mean, why do I want to watch it? Considering we are in like the final stretch of the show, might as well just stay blind. But yeah. So, once again, well, not really once again. So, we will be. Hang on. I gotta move this first. And that's the video done rendering. All right. So, two versions of this reaction. Of course, there's the timer-based reaction that you're watching on YouTube, or if you are watching this live, you can hop on over to Twitch, where I will be showing the footage. Or if not, then you can wait for the picture-in-picture version that will be available in the description below. So, if you're still on YouTube, then grab your copy of the episode because we're gonna have to sync it up with the timer. There's gonna be a countdown as usual. It's gonna be 5 seconds, and once it hits 0, I press play, you press play, and we should all be in sync. Alright, I think that's enough for the intro. And let us begin. Oh yeah, and Arnhate, of course. Let's not forget about Arnhate and her situation. Yeah, that. If we are gonna be focusing on her in this episode, then I think I need to prepare myself. But I think, as I mentioned in the previous episode reaction, I think it would be funny if we spent that previous episode with Arnhate waking up, of course, to tell our boy Einar about, giving him a good positive message before she left, right? Before she moves on. Just to end on a nice, positive note and not a sour one. But it would be funny if Arnhate woke up in the previous episode and then we do not focus on Arnhate at all in this episode. So, there is that possibility as well. But anyways. Alright. Here we go. Countdown to the timer on YouTube starts now. All right. Hmm. Love the direction already. Wow, the stark contrast. They're the ones having fun. Now you're in the opposite end. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Oh. Oh, dude. Oh, wow. Whoa. Those movements, though. Nah, dude. What the fuck is that? It's great. It's great. But, like, ooh. Heavy. They definitely choreographed that fight scene. May not necessarily be um may not necessarily be rotoscope, but just using the reference footage and drawing it in a similar fashion could still get that look. Yeah, it doesn't matter. Hmm. That twitch in the in his eyes. Oh, interesting. As powerful as Kettle is, he is still a slave to the king in a way. The episode title just pain. Are we not getting an opening? But yeah. Yeah, he left because your old man probably hit the dust. Oh. Whoa. Thorgil has the power to slow time so that he can speak all that to Canute? I'm joking. It's anime logic. I don't mind it, I just find it funny sometimes. It's usually done because they want to recapture the same feeling that if you when you are reading the manga, because when you're reading the manga, there's really no sense of time, right? But man, talk about some of that fight scene in the beginning though. Holy shit. Like those movements when oh, that's how you do a fight scene, dude. Like it's smooth, but it's not smooth that it felt jarring like some rotoscope animations are. Like it's just that it's in that balanced perfect amount in my opinion. Like I said, I don't think it is rotoscope. It's more like they are just using reference footage. I could be wrong though, but oh, oh, my man did it with a pose as well. The crooked sword though. Interesting. Oh, it's more than just spraining it. Smart, smart, really smart. Effective use of the cape. Woo! Knut isn't strong, but he is cunning. Let's see those smarts. Oh, all right. The captain, right? Oh, oh, oh God. Oh yeah, violence, violence in my Vinland Saga. Yes. Woo! He's holding it with the fucking poor dude. Not holding it in the angle in the handle, but he's holding it in. Oh my God. He is a bold man. And off he goes again. Man, Thorgil just came and went. He came, he saw, he tried, he flee. But this did turn the tide of the battle just for a bit though. Time to breathe. Still alive. Crazy, if that is the case, that they didn't recognize him. Kind of showcasing that for them, Kettle and his men, they all look the same. There's no status between them. Oh, these imageries. Oh, the howling of the wind. Here we go. Here we go. Whoa. Hmm. Yes, but I'm waiting for the but. Hmm. Oh, yeah, I saw that. Iceland? That's not enough, is it? Yeah. I swear, if Thorfinn gives the Vinland speech. Hmm. Oh. Yeah. Unless they're setting her up to be alive. I don't know. I don't know anymore. If she is going to pass, at least let her pass in peace. Wow. Tying that back all the way from episode 1. There it is. Words he always wanted to say. But it seems like it's too late. Einar's V8 though. That voice acting. Too real. Beautiful shot. Don't you? Don't you? He actually said it. What a beautiful way to bring this all back full circle. Oh, great shot. Yeah. Wow. Einar. Thorfinn, stop him. It won't help anything. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Jesus Christ, this episode is beautifully shot. Yes, you are. Yes, you were. Hmm. I haven't heard a realistic sound of somebody crying in anime until maybe today. Sound of the heartbeat. Thumbnail shot. Knuts's speech from the first season. Mirroring Canut's speech in the first season, even. With the way Canute was looking up to Cross in that episode in the first season, and then now Thorfinn looking up. Oh! Ooh! The episode's gonna end though. The battle isn't over. Uh-huh. He's done running away, old man. He's about to face death, literally. But this is heartbreaking for Leaf as well, though. Because he is this close to bringing him home. Oh. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Oh, this music. We'll wait for you. Uh-huh. Wow. Wow. How does Vinland Saga Season 2 does this? How does Vinland Saga Season 2 always have one of the best directed episodes of the entire series? That was beautifully directed. The callbacks to the first episode, the thematic callbacks from Vinland to creating paradise, Canut's speech from season 1, of course, right? And how it's paralleling Canut's resolve and Thorfinn's resolve. They both want the same thing, but it's totally different in terms of their approach. Wait, so if Canute is going to go to Canute, if Thorfinn is gonna go to Canute, presumably in the next episode, and the next episode is gonna be the reunion and the potentially a diplomatic meeting between them, trying to find peace, then what's gonna happen in like the next couple of episodes after that? Because we still have like what, 2, 3, a couple of more episodes. Because I'm assuming the next episode is gonna be the talk, and we're gonna get a bunch more, I guess. Once again, like an, another case of thematic reoccurrence again. We're gonna see um the two of them um we're gonna see the two of them like reconcile. No, not reconcile. Sorry, wrong word. The two of them meeting, talking. Probably gonna be some dialogue about telling their wants and needs, their goals, their differences. But yeah, after that, unless of course Thorfinn failed and the negotiations were short, and then the battle continues, which could also be a good lesson for Thorfinn that not every person can be reasoned with, which will, again, I suppose, present Thorfinn with another obstacle to beat in pursuit of his ideal self. Because right now I mean, because obviously there's like two outcomes, right? Either Thorfinn succeeded and the fight is over, or Thorfinn failed and the fight continues. There's really only two outcomes. Unless the negotiations succeeded, quote unquote, Thorfinn got what he wanted, and then after that, Canute is gonna backstab him because he is conniving and will pretty much get what he wants no matter what, and he's gonna find um every way possible to get around everything. Because remember, right, when Canute wanted Kettle's land, he didn't necessarily ask Kettle for that land. He more so orchestrated a plan where Olmar attacked his men, and that gives him reason to acquire his land, right? And because Kettle disobeyed the king and whatever, but that is orchestrated by Canute, so Canute can still play the long game and make some schemes here and there, and I don't know. I don't know. or we could just have the diplomacy happen, everything is resolved, and then the next 3 episodes is just gonna be a long um discussion of the themes of Vinland, and we're just gonna reinforce it even more. We're gonna get a lot of happy moments. Einar, of course, needs to reconcile his he already kind of did reconcile his feelings in this episode, but like, is he going to uphold to that, right? And then of course we have Leif and Thorfinn and them coming back to his home and all. Could that be in the end of this season? Could it be at the start of the next season? I am not sure. But what I am sure is this entire season is going to be resolving the farmland saga. So we're still going to be focusing on the farm, probably until the very end of the episode, very end of the series. But yeah, fantastic episode. This episode was beautifully shot, incredibly directed. It's definitely one of the it's one of those episodes where it's clear that it's getting, more focused than other episodes. You know what I mean? Like it's clear from like the direction, from the level of detail, even like some of the things, some of the shots that I saw in this episode. Like, goddamn. Like I mentioned in like a couple of discussions ago, like Vinland Saga Season 2, there's some ups and downs in the production side of things. Like there's some really good ones, and then there are some moments where it's like, I feel like they're kind of rushing it a bit because of scheduling, perhaps, or they have to focus on a different episode, and then so they have to sacrifice this episode's quality, for example. But then the highest highs of Vinland Saga Season 2, in my opinion, surpasses the highest highs of Vinland Saga Season 1. But yeah, fantastic episode. Music, as the music placement as well, just elevates the scene. And yeah, fantastic, just fantastic all throughout. Oh yeah, no. Also, the fact that this episode is just literally titled "Pain." What's the episode title? Pain. I wonder what this episode will entail. Pain. Absolute pain. Gonna be honest. Gotta be honest. When Thorfinn um when he bring up the Vinland speech, at the back of my mind, all right, at the back of my mind, I know this is a very serious moment. I know that, there's the thematic element is there. Once again, like the callback to the first episode, him, Thorfinn growing up as a person. Every time that Thorfinn does bring up the Vinland speech throughout the series of this, of this show, it's always during, like, I would say, a bit of a turning point for his character, right? Obviously, once again, like I said, we first hear it in the first episode with Force, but then we hear it again, I think, in episode, what was it, 5 or 6? I think it was 6, when Thorfinn was talking with the slave girl, right, in the port at night, right? And then we hear it again in this season about a couple of episodes ago, when Thorfinn was talking to Einar, right? And I feel like every time he does mention the Vinland speech, it is basically more of a turning point for his character growth and development, where he learns something more, where either he learns to, yeah. But as I was saying, at the back of my mind, didn't really mention it during the reaction because I'm not sure if this is really appropriate or not, but at the back of my mind, I'm like, Thorfinn's pulling up the Vinland speech. That means that means Arnheid is gonna come back alive. is like the speech that brings everybody back to life. Like, hey, you hear about Vinland? It's paradise. You don't want to miss it. I don't know why I thought that. I mean, like, Arnheid is pretty much already dead at that point, but maybe? Nah. I don't know. There's like that bit of feeling. I guess if Thorfinn mentioned this before, if Thorfinn did the Vinland speech before, let's say, this moment, before she actually shuts her eye for one last time and let out her final breath, and Thorfinn saying, Einar, that's enough. Like, that is pretty much the indication that she's dead. But if Thorfinn pulled up the Vinland speech before this, like if Thorfinn did it right here, when Einar was like shouting Arnheid's name, and then Thorfinn just comes in and like, Einar, move. So there's this place called Vinland, and Arnheid just wakes up. I don't know why I was thinking about that, but it's. If this was a shonen, see, if this was a shonen, probably. Yeah, it's like, and this is why I kind of appreciate this scene a lot more, because in any other story, let's actually make it, let's actually be serious about this. Actually, before that, hang on, before that, I gotta have to. All right, the stream on Twitch will be over, so thank you for those of you who are on Twitch, because there's really no need for me to stream there anymore at this point. So see you guys from Twitch. Hop on over back to YouTube to discuss more about the show. All right. But as I was saying, if this was a different show, I feel like that would be a time for the writers to interject that the speech that will inspire the person and bring them back to life, or give them hope again, because the person before this was talking about, like, everybody's dead, everybody that I know is dead, what's the point of living anymore, and it's like, we can't have that. That's very depressing. We need to somehow inspire them to come back to life again. And let's use Thorfinn's speech, for example. If this was any other anime, I feel like that would be the case, because it would make sense, logically speaking, from a narrative point of view. Like, I don't mind that at all. Sometimes, if done effectively, it would be a really powerful scene. The reason why I appreciate it not being the case in Vinland Saga Season 2 is that it serves a different purpose. Because if we did what I just said, then the purpose of that is to bring this character back to life. In Vinland's case, that is not the case. The purpose is to instill the character growth for Thorfinn and Einar. Her death is what ultimately led to Thorfinn to keep this promise, right? And there's the difference. If she's back to life, then Thorfinn's his motivation isn't necessarily to make a promise, but to empower their friends to come back to us. Come on, you got the power. Let's go. Right? Which again, it's not a bad message at all, but I just find it the message that is in Vinland Saga Season 2 within the context to be much more powerful because it not only connects more thematically to the story's message, but it also gives Thorfinn that ultimate goal of yes, he wants to make paradise on Earth, which also not only contrasts or even parallels to Canute's dream and goal, but it's clear that these two characters are approaching it in very different ways, and that is what makes these two characters interesting. It's like a yin and a yang, right? There's always balance. Their desire is something similar, but their necessary means is radically different. So yeah, I think that that's what I would say about this scene in Vinland Season 2. Um, yeah, Thorfinn finally found his purpose, right? He's searching for it. It's not necessary. It's not that necessarily Thorfinn found his purpose. For me at least, it's more so that Thorfinn accepts his purpose. I feel like before this, I already got the feeling that that is exactly what Thorfinn wants to do, but he hasn't found the resolve yet to fully accept that this is what he's going to do for the rest of his life. Until this very moment where he realizes that he can prevent this. Arnheid died because of all of that, because of all of the mess that this world is currently going through, right? War, slavery, everything that Arnheid mentioned, right, before her death, right? Do you have those in your homeland? And then Leaf answers, yes, we did. We do. And that is what gives Arnheid the hopelessness that ultimately led her to no longer cling on to life and thus goes away and passes and moves on, right? That is sad. Thorfinn finally sees this. He realizes that this world is fucking wrong. This world is terrible. This world is garbage. I'm gonna fix that. I don't want any other people to die just like Arnheid. Let's prevent this. Somehow. Some way. I find that to be beautiful. Again, very, very similar to Canute's way of thinking, right? To the point where we actually got this scene, right? When Thorfinn was looking up above. This is mirroring Canute during that episode. I forgot which episode it was in season 1, but it is mirroring that episode when Canute was looking up to a church, right, with the cross right above. And this is, if I remember correctly, I could be wrong, but this is the speech I think that Canute gave, right? He must be looking down on everything from up high in heaven, blah 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 blah. Similar expression as well, right? Exactly the same. In that episode, Canute, we gotta zoom in on Canute looking up in like full disgust and disappointment that the god above us isn't really doing anything and made us live through hell and suffering. Like, I'm gonna fix that. Season 1, episode 20. Thank you, Project Omnia. So yeah, fucking love this scene. And the fact that we are gonna be meeting, we are gonna be seeing Canute and Thorfinn meeting again after this. Woo! I'm looking forward to the dialogue between those two. Like, I am really looking forward. It would be so interesting. Wait, season 1, episode 20? Season 2, episode 20. I think they did this on purpose. If it was season 1, episode 20, and we got this season 2, episode 20. Yo! Talk about parallels. Because I was about to say, right, we have reached the point in season 2 of Vinland Saga where if we correlate it to season 1 of Vinland Saga, this is where we are getting the negotiations between like Canute and Ashkalat with the king, right? This is where we are getting that situation where we're trying to figure out peace with the king, and then the king is like, oh yeah, we're gonna accept the peace, but then the king's like, oh no, we're actually not gonna accept the peace. We're actually gonna find a way to actually make you either join our war or get you away or assassinate you and all that stuff, right? The scheming, conniving things and all. I think I'm getting an idea of where we're going in season 2 if we are paralleling it. Like, huh? We're getting another head cutting. I mean, definitely not. Canute is definitely not gonna die though, because that's like, right? I'm pretty sure Canute is. I'm pretty sure Canute still has historical plot armor at this point. now I'm starting to question myself. Yeah, no way Canute dies. Canute is essentially like the secondary main character, or at least Canute's journey is, he is the main character of his own subplot, right? There's more to Canute. We need Canute alive if Thorfinn is still alive, because we need to see both ends, right? We need to see both extremes, like the extreme that is searching for peace, and then the extreme that is searching the same thing through war. I'm just starting to, yeah, I'm just trying to predict how this season is going to end if I am just correlating it back to like season 1 and the formula that season 1 had. But yeah, we are venturing to the point where I think the dialogue is going to be the war, right? This back and forth discussion between Thorfinn and Canute, if we are going to get that, I feel like that is going to be our battle, right? It's a battle of the mind, it's the battle of dialogue, it's the battle of who can outwit who can convince the other, right? Yeah, it's kind of hard to predict how this season is going to end, because we really can't actually predict how it ends at all. There's not really any breadcrumbs for us to follow. That's the beauty. Now Thorfinn is completely a different person, so the peace route is open. I am just imagining that Thorfinn is gonna meet Canute, and then Ashkalad's ghost is gonna come back and go, Thorfinn, wanna take his head? I can show you how to do it. I have the technique. But speaking of Canute, let's actually talk about Canute for a bit. This part, right? Where is it? So we discussed about Canute a lot whenever we got a Canute episode. And for me, my number one discussion when it comes to Canute in this season is whether or not Canute has actually killed a person or not. With his own hands. With his own sword, even. Canute has killed a lot of people. Let's keep that straight. But we never actually seen him do it in person. Aside from Ashkelon, right? But that's what I mean. Has he ever killed anybody else aside from Ashkelon? Because when it comes to Ashkelon's death, it's more so that it is orchestrated so that Canute has to kill that person, right? Ashkelon is telling him to do it. Kill me. Kill me so that you can become king. This is the plan. I am setting this up for you. So the question is, after that, has Canute actually killed any other person? Because that discussion in that episode when Canute was discussing, I forgot which number of episode it was, but in season 2, right? When I think it was the episode titled Swords and Kings, where Canute was talking about like how the sword makes the king and all, paraphrasing, but it brings up this discussion of like, okay, so if Canute sees the sword as a symbol of, you know, a leader or a king, right? Then how come he isn't really respecting the sword in that episode? He throws the sword away after he fought, I think the captain. So yeah. And even in this episode, even, as Canute gets ready to defend himself, he uses the sword, not to attack, but to defend, obviously, but the sword immediately cracks. A crooked sword. Would it be a stretch for me to say that this symbolizes that Canute's own kingship is very fragile? Because all it took is just one man, that one man being Thorgil. All it takes is just one man to topple his empire. He almost got it. That sword almost broke. If that sword broke, Canute is gone. To me, it immediately, this moment right here when Canute notices that his sword almost broke, it immediately, to me, it's more so that Canute is realizing that he may be a king, but he is not a god. He can die. Just because he has an army, just because that the battle is won, doesn't mean that the war is over. And just because he is king doesn't mean that he is invincible. Just because he is able to get rid of all of his known enemy, it doesn't mean that he has no other enemy. And when Canute mentions this, right, my right hand feels weak. And then he mentions that, could it be that the single blow sprained it? I don't think that's the case at all. It's not, to me, it's not that his hand is sprained. I mean, it could very much be sprained, but I would like it even more if it's just showing that Canute is scared. Yeah, that he was afraid. He is afraid, he is scared, and he is still unsure if he is able to take another person's life. Or both. I feel like every discussion of whether or not could it be this or that, there's always a compromise. It's both. It's both. But yeah, Canute very smart for using the cloak. Like I said, Canute isn't really strong, but he is smart, right? He's gonna use everything that he can to get away from Thorgil and find safety. Now, if Thorgil didn't really talk much, if Thorgil didn't really talk shit and monologue for a bit, then Canute would probably be gone by now. Very lucky for Canute that his right-hand man comes in, distracts Thorgil, almost cutting his arm. This scene is fucking brutal, though. But man, fucking Thorgil, dude. Thorgil, the handle is created so that you won't get a cut on your arm when you are wielding your sword. Use the handle. Thorgil's like, nah, dude. I'm going to be holding the actual sword. Fucking hell, dude. Screw the handle, man. Oh, man. Like, he is him. I would pay so much to see Thorgil and Thorkel meeting. That would be so fucking fun. But yeah, Thorgil lives another day. He leaves, escapes. Man. Mentioned this during the reaction, but I love what Snake said to Kettle here. Looks like those soldiers didn't recognize you. Ultimately, it means, you know, like the obvious message, right? It doesn't really matter who you are anymore at that point during war. And especially for Kettle, it's like hurting his pride more. That even with all of that armor that he's wearing, you know, with that helmet and all, they don't see you as a leader. Nope, they see you as just a normal, average soldier fighting in the battlefield. You do not look as any different as all of those other men that you deployed. Olmar still probably sitting on the beach. Can't really do anything. Let's talk about this fight scene, though. I mean, my discussion has been going backwards from like the end of the episode to the beginning of the episode, but man, this fight scene in the beginning of the episode is so fucking good. Hang on. Like some of the flow of the animation. This, like let's start with here. Like this Yom's Viking that is like his casual, almost openness behavior. The movement of his legs. How the camera is focusing on the swing of the axe. How it's all animated on one frame. Actually, really clever use of motion blur as well. This clever dodge. Man is smiling like he is just playing with him. Yeah. It's not CG, by the way. Like it doesn't look CG at all. For you know, if any are questioning, is that CG? No. If it's CG, then it would be noticeable. Also, really love that there's multiple other battles in the back that aren't exactly copy and paste. This fight, they definitely, I think they captured um people in the studio actually fighting this. Like they actually captured like the choreography of like two people fighting, and then not necessarily rotoscope. Like I said, it could be. I'm not sure, but it's more so that they are using that as reference, and then they animate the characters on their own. If it's rotoscope, then there has to be more jitteriness to it, which I don't see. Which means that this is probably gonna be again like the animators using reference footage and not tracing over that reference footage. I love how he jumps after that. Swings the axe, blocks the axe, jumps a bit in the back. I love that. They definitely had somebody who is an expert in like sword fighting into the studio and just captured them just swinging around and stuff. Yeah, the fight scene, the flow of the character's movement and all, and the way the camera is like moving and capturing it is beautifully done in my opinion. Definitely one of the best, I would say, realistic sword fight in this show that isn't trying to be semi fantasy like how Thorfinn was fighting against Thorkel, for example, because like that was just pure on um fighting Goliath or some shit. But this is hard to do. Was the guy, was this in the back? Hang on. No, this is 2D as well. I would say that the these two characters in the back are 2D, and then the background battle that are, you know, that is definitely not in focus could be 3D animated, and just have it be like low poly models, because we're not really going to be focusing on them, which I think is smart to do. Beautiful stuff. I don't think it's rotoscope at all, though. I think they use reference footage, that's for sure, but I don't think they necessarily traced over those footage. I would love to see a behind the scene breakdown of this fight scene. The reason why I don't think it's rotoscope is because we jump back to animating it on 2s. 1, yeah, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Yeah, because if it's rotoscope, then why? If it's rotoscope, then usually it's animated on 1s. Again, I could be wrong though. Just probably a really, really, really talented animator that is working on this scene. But yeah. Most of Twitter Twitter? Really? Twitter. You mean the people who thought that the ending sequence of Kaguya season 3 episode 5 was rotoscope when it's not. Those people. Those people. I'm not saying that I'm not discrediting some of the people on Twitter who are obviously like animators, for example, who knows their stuff, but Twitter. Twitter. Twitter, the same people who also thought that, oh my god, the CGI in this is garbage, and then it's actually rotoscope, and then the people who are also saying, oh my god, this rotoscope is garbage, and then it's realized, no, it's not really rotoscope, it's just really good animation. Like, make up your minds. I'm not trusting Twitter at all until I see like an actual blog post by a really reputable news outlet or an actual behind the scene footage from Studio Mappa. All that I will say is, if this is actually rotoscope, then it's really well done rotoscope, because it's not. Let's just use this as a good lesson on, like, if this is rotoscoping, then they did a really good job at not making it feel uncanny, because they definitely use like the proper techniques of like, okay, when can, because the thing about rotoscope, first of all, what is this? What is this angle? Hello? What is this? Hey, yo. But if this is rotoscoping, then they did a really good job at masking it, because sometimes when it comes to rotoscoping, obviously there's like moments where you add, it feels rigid. That's the word that I'm trying to say. There's so many frames, they're animating it on once, but it feels rigid because they're trying to mimic actual human movement. But we're not seeing actual humans moving in the scene, we're seeing animated characters moving. There's a difference, right? This is why when we look at actual rotoscope projects or movies, for example, there's this level of like uncanniness to it. I don't mind rotoscoping at all, but there's definitely some uncanniness to it, especially like if you're focusing on like their facial expressions and their movements. But if this is not rotoscope, which means that they probably use a reference footage and then they animated it through that, as in just using the reference, then they animate the characters on their own and all that stuff, then it's equally impressive, because it would be a great example of how to use reference footage correctly, because they capture all of the human movement, right? From like swinging to this character like skipping behind, jumping after he blocks the axe swing, like that, but still keeping it in line to the anime's actual movement and aesthetic. And if it's not both of them, and it's actually just a really, really talented animator who just conjure up this choreography in his mind, their mind, and like, yeah, I'm just gonna create this on my own. I don't really need a reference or anything. Then all I can say is fucking Giga Chad. So either way, it doesn't really matter because at the end of the day, the final product is really, really good. This fight scene is great. The reason why I think it's, well, it definitely had a reference footage, of course, because of this moment right here where the two characters make contact and then this character moves and changes his um body angle. It's just a matter of, did they trace it over, which means it's rotoscope, or did they just use the reference, which means that it is not rotoscope? But either way, yeah, fantastic. And just some really, really great shots in this episode as well. Just, woo! When I saw this in the opening, I was like, I really wish that they can capture this level of animation if there is an actual fight coming. And I think for the most part, they pretty much did, at least in terms of like the quality of the movement, I mean. Oh yeah, I mean, if we're talking about like sense of scale, then that's a matter of like workload and the limitations of 2D animation, because like, yeah, that would be hard. There's a reason why most battle scenes are animated in 3D, because all they have to do is just copy and paste a bunch of the models, and then you can fully see the sense of scale. But if you're gonna do that, then you're gonna be sacrificing the visuals, and if you want to make the visuals look good, then you're gonna have to need more time to actually composite all of it and actually make it look good. So yeah, to me that's just a matter of like the limitations of like the 2D medium and the time that they had. So they have to, of course, have to make do in what in what they can. But then again, it's just like 100 men versus like what 300, 400 of Kettle's men. So it's not like it's a super huge battle, for example, right? Looking at some of those like fight scenes in this episode, and just like the visual of this show in its entirety, it's just making me wish for one day to get like a really, really, really good adaptation of like Berserk, for example. Maybe some other seinen mangas out there, maybe Vagabond. and a bunch of other stuff well, I mean, we had like Kingdom, but I'm not sure that the Kingdom anime was that well received from most manga readers. But yeah, like a lot of mangas that are depicting battles that also has really, really highly detailed character models at the same time. Like that's just like workload after workload when it comes to like 2D animation, which is why a lot of people don't really want to take on those projects. Part of the reason why when Vinland Saga was announced, a lot of people were like skeptical about like how it can it be animated, can it be done. But I think we've reached a point where if you give the animators and the studio enough time and budget, I think they can, especially in 2D. But it is a time commitment, right? Yeah, Vinland really got the jackpot for a seinen adaptation. Like, Yabuta Sensei and everybody involved in this adaptation has just been knocking it out of the park. It's clear that that staff behind it knows the source material and respects it really, really well. And most importantly, they know how to expand on it. There's plenty of moments, again, like in this season and the season before, where you have anime original scenes that just adds more to the show and not be seen as filler, for example. And I think that's like a that's a testament to like how much they understand the story of the source material, to the point that they are able to add in more scenes without making it feel unnatural. So yeah, I'm hoping that Vinland will be the, I guess, poster child for future seinen adaptations. Like, this is the level of quality that you guys need to capture. Like, this is the bar. The bar has been set with Vinland Saga. If you want, again, like, and not just from like a visual standpoint alone, but like direction as well. You know what I mean? I think that's one thing that I absolutely love about Vinland Saga, is that the direction for this show has been phenomenal. Some of those standalone episodes are just cinema. Moments where the music isn't even playing. We're just letting the atmosphere play out. And I think that's the thing with a lot of seinens, from my own observations, there's a lot of moments that definitely feels atmospheric in the manga. Maybe panels with no dialogue at all, just straight up pictures. And you need to capture that feeling in the show as well. Vinland has done a fantastic job at capturing that, and I wish more seinen adaptations in the future. Like I said, if they end up eventually readapting Berserk again, maybe if they decide to pick up other seinens out there, especially those that involves a lot of battle sequences, because my god, it is going to be hard to animate. But if done well, if the direction is on point, if they understand what they're doing, if they understand the medium and the limitations of those mediums, and how to creatively go around it, that would be key for success. Vinland Saga has been great. It's been great. Four more episodes. Four more episodes. Which, by the way, I'm not going to continue with the manga. I feel like once this season is over, I might go read the manga and read up to this point in the anime, but I kind of don't want to read past this point. Because at this point, with season 2, I'm pretty much fine with waiting a few more years if the anime adaptation is this level of quality. Like, I want this to be my first ever experience with the story. Because I was about to read the manga when season 1 was over, but then they announced season 2, and I'm like, okay, I'll wait for season 2. I'll see how good season 2 will be, especially quality-wise, because if they are able to capture the same feeling that season 1 gave, then I'm probably gonna stay anime only. But if they couldn't, then I'll think about going back into the manga. This season just pretty much seals the deal for me. I'm not gonna read further into the manga. I'm just gonna be an anime only. Because this is just too good. Oh, it would be criminal to not get a season 3. I think that's a no-brainer. I think we are gonna get a season 3. Maybe announced like a couple of months after this. I feel like. Because Yabuta Sensei definitely needed a break, and everybody else involved. But yeah, I feel like season 3 would be just right around the corner. Maybe I don't know, maybe they'll do a similar thing to what they did in season 1 when the final episode of season 1 ended, and then we end the episode with a tease of season 2, right? Who are all of these characters? We have no idea who they are. They could just do that again in season 2, and I would not mind at all. Yeah, we haven't even met all of those characters, by the way. Like, there's a character who's drawing things in the beach, and I'm like, we still haven't met that person. Who is that? Oh yeah. Really, really excited for the future of Vinland Saga. This has been great. Thank you all so much for tuning in, joining in on my reaction. Yeah. It's been great. It's been great. I'll do a chill stream after this, so I'll still be live, and because I want to edit some things and maybe just talk a bit more. But yeah, that's it for Vinland Saga Season 2, Episode 20. What a fantastic episode. Farewell to Arnheid. Farewell to Kettle's farm, I suppose, and everybody involved, everybody in there. Like, actually, now that I'm thinking about it, if Kettle actually won, right? If the I mean if the negotiations happened and then Thorfinn found a way to establish peace, nobody's gonna be running Kettle's farm. Like nobody's gonna be there. Half of his workforce is dead. That farm is not going to survive winter. So catch you all next time. I'm gonna go back live maybe in a couple of minutes because I still need to edit some things out. But yeah, if you guys still want to talk more, then I'll be live. But if not, thank you all so much. Farewell, and I will see you all next week for the next episode of Vinland. Thank you guys. Farewell. Have a nice day.